Alright. How are we doing tonight, birds?
Does it look good?
Alright, that's alright. That's pretty good, actually. Can I get a little bit more energy this time? Is it how we doing tonight, birds? Good, good. I don't know why I made you do that. I guess it felt right. I don't get that excited myself, so I'm sorry I made you all partake in that. That was not fair. I will do better. Whenever I was in high school, I guess I was a very inspired kid. I just felt very inspired all the time. So whenever I turned 18, my senior year, I got my first tattoos. And I'll show them to you. So on one side it says reality is for the wrong, and then on the other side it says dreams are for the real. And you know, that quote means a lot to me because it's basically saying that, you know, you don't care what people try to tell you what you need to do in your future. You just want to live your dream and want to strive to be the best version of yourself every day. And then after that, I became a manager at Panera Bread. So, you know, reality ain't too wrong when you got bills to pay. Just saying. I actually no longer work at Panera Bread. But I work at Hobbit, but the punchline works better with Panera Bread, so I keep saying Panera Bread. Unrelated. One of the things that I do as a manager is I interview and hire a lot of people. And when you do that, you come across a lot of interesting people. You meet a lot of interesting characters. I interviewed this person the other day, and one of my favorite questions to ask in an interview, to kind of get to know the person's personality. You know, I ask them, tell me about a time when you've experienced conflict with somebody and how you were able to resolve that conflict and come to a resolution. And I get a lot of various answers. This guy said, you know, to be honest, I never had a conflict with anybody. Never. Not once in my life. Never had an issue. I'm like, okay, that's bullshit. First of all, everybody has some form of conflict. I mean, your mom takes away your cookies. You got conflict with your mom. You beefing with your mom. There's conflict everywhere. And you know, it wouldn't have been too bad if this motherfucker didn't have a teardrop tattoo. So it's like you had a conflict with somebody and you brought it to a resolution yourself. All right, you resolved it one way or another. So don't sit up here and lie to me. Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting work. This is actually where I first started doing comedy. Let's see here. It was 2023, so it was about 4 years ago when I first did my first set here at Birds. Yeah. And I told my sister that I was doing comedy just because she's really supportive in everything that I do. And she lives in Houston, so when I told her I was performing, she was like, oh, cool, like, where are you going to be performing? I told her I was going to be performing at this place called Birds. And she was like, oh, okay, is that one of the comedy clubs they have there? I'm like, ha, 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 ha. We don't have those. I was like, no, Birds. It's called Birds Aphrodisiac Oyster Shack. And she just started bursting out laughing because, I guess to an outsider, to somebody who doesn't live in Tallahassee, a place called Birds Aphrodisiac Oyster Shack, you know, it doesn't really make a lot of sense on the surface. I think that applies to a lot of places. Do you ever think that people who live outside of Africa look at that African country called Niger and think like, well, what is that? Like, you know, it's like the Huckleberry Finn of African countries, where the kid has to name all the African countries, and he's like, okay, we got Cameroon, we got Angola, we got, we got Somalia. It skips over it. I love doing comedy though. I love doing comedy. Something that's really good to have when you're doing comedy is friends. You know, something they don't tell you is that when you first start doing comedy, like half the audience is going to be all your friends. You know, you're going to have so much support. Everybody's going to be there. But then when you get to about your third or fourth show, they're like, "Oh, you're still doing that?" Like you kept your day job, right? I know. I'm still a restaurant manager. Don't worry. And it's like, it's good to have friends because, you know, they support you no matter what. You know, I can know that I have at least one corner of laughs I can always rely on. It's unconditional support. And a lot of people don't believe in unconditional support. But I've seen it in action. If anybody's ever seen Family Feud, you all know that people will get up there and tell Steve Harvey these stupidest things, but their whole family will be right behind them, cheering them on, talking about, good answer, good answer. It's up there, Steve, it's up there. And it's never up there. It's never up there. That's my time. Thank you guys.